Hello, and we are back right away. No break this time because I'm running behind. Surprise, surprise. No, we've been having some really great chats with my guests so far, and one just got away with us a little bit, but that's okay because there's opportunity to catch up and give every one of our vendors their due diligence for their 15 minutes here. I am so grateful for Patricia. Thank you so much for being understanding. I apologize for being late. I'm so excited to have you here. How are you today?
Very happy to be here. I'm fine. Thank
Oh, I'm
you.
so grateful, so grateful. I always start out by asking people a simple question that, sometimes gets them off track a little bit, but I love the answer and how different it comes out. So, Patricia, who are you?
Who am I? Well, I am I am a retired nurse turned real estate agent turned author. And I am a mother, wife of 47 years and a
Wow.
mother of four, grandmother of five. And those are the most important things. So that's why I start with them. But I came from Bethlehem, Pennsylvania originally. And we moved to North Carolina in about 90, lived several places. And now I am in Wake Forest, North Carolina. And I am not moving again because the big black hearse is going to take me out before anybody else takes me any other place.
Wait, did I hear you right? Did you say you're originally from Bethlehem, Pennsylvania?
Yes, yes.
So am I.
Really?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
I was born, and both my boys were born in Bethlehem, and I literally lived there till I was about 15 until I moved to Central PA.
Oh my gosh. Oh, it is such a small world.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. It's not very often that we hear, for the record, it's not very often you hear people say, I'm from Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Usually
No.
it's Allentown or Easton or somewhere else around us, but it's very, very awkward sometimes. So, but it's so cool.
Yeah.
It's our time of year.
I graduated from Liberty and graduated from St. Luke's Hospital, nursing school. And then,
So did my mom. We have to talk after this.
oh, we will, yes. Oh my gosh. Okay. But I am living in Wake Forest, and I started writing really without having to for assignments in elementary school. And I always loved it. My mother loved to write. And of course, she would be like 101 right now. And at that time, there wasn't anything for people like the internet, but she just wrote because she loved it. And I think that's where I got it from. I got it from my mother. And I always said that if I had a chance, I was going to get something published for her. And that's kind of how I started out. I published my first book in 2014. That's called The Giggle Box. And that was actually inspired by my family. Main character being one of my sons, but I have all four of them in there in some way, shape, or form in a little book. And it's a picture book. It's for children anywhere from 2, because it is a picture book and can be read, by a parent or somebody.
Awesome.
And I say up until 6 or 7. And at that point, they're moving on. But then they can move on to my next book, and that's called The Town of Alpaca. That actually won an International Book Contest award for indie authors. It was a 3rd place in the children's storybook fiction category. So I'm very proud of that book. And that book came about after a foliage tour in the Blue Ridge Mountains of Virginia. We went up there and we passed this alpaca farm. And I said, oh man, I want to see these animals. I never saw one. And I just fell in love with those crazy animals. They're so cool. They're so cool. And then we came out, got in the car, and I kept thinking in my mind, my mind works really weird. Anybody who knows me will tell you it does. But I kept thinking of this old song in my mind, The Town of El Paso, like alpaca, El Paso, alpaca. I don't know where that came from, but I kept thinking about this song, The Town of El Paso. And I wrote the book on the way home in the car. And, of course, it went through several changes, but then that got published by Outskirts Press. And
That's so exciting.
it was really, we had fun doing it. My husband's a card, so we really had a lot of fun doing it. And then I sat still for a little bit until I retired, because I was still working either part-time or full-time in nursing. And my third book, which is an adult book, that came about because I was working in the emergency room in Rocky Mount. And my head nurse came up to me one day and he said, "How would you like to put away bad guys?" And I'm going, "Oh yeah, I'd like to do that. How do I do that?" And he chose me and one other nurse in the department, sent us over to the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, and we took a week-long course on forensic nursing. And it was the most challenging, but the most fascinating education I've ever had. It was just so fascinating. And what we did when we got certified is we helped the police collect evidence for sexual assault cases, child abuse cases, and domestic abuse cases. And it was just amazing. I mean, it was like a whole new world was entered listening to these people and their stories, because I have no knowledge of any of that in my life. And, it just struck me, all these people, and the kids especially. The kids are the ones that really got to my gut. But I did that for a few years, and then that was a while back, but I never really forgot about these people and this subject. And I went on to become a legal nurse consultant, but I couldn't get any jobs in that because I didn't have any experience, but that's another story. So I never did that, but I was always interested in it. So lo and behold, I retired and I started writing and started writing a blog, took some freelance work, wrote a health article for a column for a newspaper in Canada, and did some freelance jobs for copy editing and things like that. And I wrote a blog, a WordPress blog. I still have it. And I did a series on domestic violence, child abuse. I don't think I did child abuse yet. I did domestic violence. I did and everything about that, how to get help, how to recognize if you've been sexually or assaulted or domestic abuse, and where to get help for it. So there were a total of 4 articles. And one day somebody wrote to me and said, "Will you tell my story?" And I looked at a name, and at this point I was just purely children, books. And I looked at and I recognized her name. She did not recognize me at first, but I said to her, I said, "I'm a children's book writer, but I would love to help you with this. Do you know who I am?" And she did not. And this is what I don't know how anybody else is, but I'm a Christian, and I totally believe in God things. I just really believe in God things. And this woman was the wife of a hospice patient of mine 13 years before I had met. And she, as soon as I said that, then she recognized who I was, but not until then. So we decided, this was meant to be. We were supposed to do this. And so we did. And we got together, and it was challenging. It was challenging for me. It was difficult for her, but we managed to get through it. And that house is called The Prettiest House on the Block. I have this, I have them here. That's what this one is. I guess you can see it, yeah. And this goes for $15. And after I wrote this book and got it published, she and I just decided that we just wanted to educate. So we're pushing the book more for education and awareness for people than for making money, because you don't make money as really as a writer. Unless you're like J.K. Rowling or something, but you just really don't make a lot of money. But it's something you do because you love and because it's a passion. And this is my passion. Always has been. Just never made money enough. Nursing did. So that's the way it was. But anyway, that's what this book is. And anything I get from my books today, I will donate 10% to an organization in Wake County, North Carolina, called Interact. And it is an organization that helps domestic violence and sexual assault cases, which are mostly women. And I'm not saying they all are, they certainly are not, but they are mostly women. There are some men, but the resources for men aren't as great as they are for women because they're not as necessary. A lot of times it's because men just don't want to come forward because they're ashamed. But it's there. I mean, it is there. And I would have to encourage anybody who is watching, whether you're a man, a woman, a same-sex partner, whatever, it's all the same. And you need to get help. So if you're in any of those situations, you need to get the help. So that's what this is. Here is the first one. This is the Giggle Box. I don't know if I'm getting it right.
That's so cute.
Yeah. It really is cute. And I was living in Cary at the time, and so my author also, my illustrator also lived in Cary. And that's how I got her to be my publisher at that time. But she's really good. And this is a story about a little boy who moved to a new town. And he was really unhappy because he didn't know anybody. And he could never smile. And this little boy, another little boy, Davy, who was my son, but anyway, it's all fictional. It's just based on my kids. But in any case, it's all fictional. But anyway, yes. So Davy wants to help him laugh. And so he tries and tries and tries, couldn't do it. And then this pretty little fairy comes in and she uses her magic and she helps Davy help Michael to learn how to laugh and have fun and make new friends. So that's what that is about. And this one, my books, when I write my books have a purpose. I love fantasy myself. I like romance novels. I like all kinds of stuff, but mine, I want mine to have a purpose. I want them to be able to help people and encourage good character traits in the children's books for sure. This is the one, The Town of Alpaca. This one is very timely. I don't know if you're seeing it, but I think so. It's very timely. It has a lot of character traits in it. It's got a lot of diversity because it's about llamas and alpacas. And llamas and alpacas are very much the same animals. They're different sizes, but they're very much the same, but they're very different. And the alpacas did not like the llamas because some big llama came to town and ruined their town. So now their town was ruined and they hated all llamas. So the llamas came to stay at this little inn one night, and the innkeeper did not want to let them in because they were llamas. And his wife talked him into it, and that was Ellie Alpaca. She talked him into it. And they learned that they could become friends, that they had differences, but they had similarities. And they learned how to work together and built their town back up again. And just basics of the story, but they learned to work together. So it has diversity, friendship, understanding, acceptance, hard work, working together for a common goal. All this is how I write. and that's what
I love that.
It's just it's not your deep. I had a problem with aging my books, like whatever age, because I'm not trying to brag, I'm really not, but my grandchildren, I have 5 grandchildren, they are all way above their reading levels. And I write these books and I'm going, I don't know how to age them because they're way past this stuff. But not all kids are. And I talked to somebody about a couple people about it, and they said, well, there are lots of kids that still like these little stories.
Absolutely.
So,
even some adults who haven't really coped with stuff that happened when they were kids with like stories like this.
Yeah, it's kids they've got to learn values. They're losing so much right now in the world. They're losing manners sometimes, not all, but they're losing. The world is so divided that there's no sense of community or unity. It's every man for himself, or every group for themselves. And my books, I'm hoping to get kids and people together to understand that we're just not all that different. So that's my goal. And I have another one in the works. It's called
Awesome.
it's called the Dynamite Kids, and it's a group. And I did make the group. Well, actually, they were really diversified. My daughter and my oldest two, when they were young, they had a little group, a little club back in Pennsylvania, and they called themselves the Dynamite Kids. And they got together and everything. But one time they did a food collection, and they went around the neighborhood and collected food and took it to the pantry and things like that. But they were all, there was an Indian girl, they were diverse. An Indian girl, there was an Asian girl, there was a Hispanic girl, there was I don't think there was an African American, and then it was diverse to begin with. So that's what I made. And the first book sets a main goal, but it's also a character development. Each chapter has an individual character that gets highlighted with their own little goal. And then if I choose to go on and do a series, and somebody wants to take my book and make it a series, I can do that. So that's the way I wrote it.
That sounds exciting. I mean, it sounds like it could be a really interesting series. Probably a great opportunity to make that something new for you versus just one book at a time. But if you have been watching this even for a small bit and are at all interested in learning more about Patricia, her books, where you can find them, I can tell you that if you text Small Biz to 717-760-6400, it will take you to our main hub that will have Patricia's beautiful picture waiting for you there with her description underneath it and all the links to find her, including the Amazon link on how to purchase the box. So thank you so much, Patricia, for being here, letting us getting to know you, and telling us all about your amazing books.
Well, thank you. I appreciate being here. It was fun. It was very nice to meet you. You're doing a good job with this.
Tracy says hi, by the way. She's been commenting the entire time we've been live.
Hi, Tracy.
Oh, goodness. But yes, so I will leave you all with a friendly reminder that today is Small Business Saturday, and you should definitely today put your community first. We do that by shopping small and supporting local. Have a great day, everyone. I will be right back with my next guest.